This week's film is all about finding Mr. Right, but the search gets a little complicated. Hello and welcome to Talkietive Reviews, the 5 Good Things, where every week we tell you about a new film. And today we're going to be talking about
Manmarziyaan.
Manmarziyaan, directed by Anurag Kashyap, is going to be quite a surprise for all of his fans. And I'm going to let the fanboy tell you why.
As an Anurag Kashyap fan, what we expect is darker thriller kind of a movie. But when I watched this movie, I was quite surprised. I was like, oh my god, Anurag Kashyap is being so romantic.
Yeah. Akhil, you're forgetting that Anurag has directed Dev D before this, which also had a happy ending. And of course, earlier this year, we saw Mukkabaz.
Yeah.
So obviously, Anurag is ready to showcase his romantic side in the movies. And perhaps we can expect a lot more coming from there. And it's not a bad thing at all. Speaking of love stories, this film is interesting because it deals with the subject of who or what is the right marriage material. Now, written by Kanika Dhillon, I thought that was an interesting premise. You guys are all grown up now. What do you think is marriage material?
For me, it will be someone who respects me for who I am.
Akhil, what about you?
I haven't thought much about it because I'm still young.
Marriage is certainly not for the faint-hearted. And Akhil, I don't believe you on that, but we'll come to that later. This story puts forward an interesting question that in these times, when girls have more choices, can they actually choose between the person they love and the person who they might find more suitable for marriage or being their life partner? Now, we know that in small towns and cities, casual dating is still an alien concept.
Yeah.
There's a lot more of that in the metros, but because this is all about the small town, the story is set in Amritsar, it puts forward an interesting premise, and I think the younger audiences will certainly connect to that. Mostly, the first person that you get close to is the person that you expected to get married to.
Yes.
And this film explores whether that is indeed the right choice or not. So definitely very relevant and very contemporary, which brings me to the characters. Rumi, played by Tapsi Pannu, is in the center of this love triangle. And she plays the feisty Spitfire girl to the hilt. Now, anyone who wouldn't have understood this role could have made it very one note.
Yes.
Because she's angry and, she's always a little restless. But she does a very fine job of bringing a certain amount of sensitivity to this particular role, giving it a depth which is necessary.
Yes.
And then there's Vicky Kaushal, who does a fine job, of course, of playing Vicky, and Abhishek Bachchan, who surprises you after a 2-year sabbatical because he displays a certain maturity and restraint, which was particularly necessary for Robbie's character. After that, there is another very important character in this particular movie, which is the music. The music by Amit Trivedi is very interesting, and in fact, that album has 12 songs, which was quite something.
So when I was watching movie, it was watching a 2-hour music video. Why? Because they have portrayed each emotions in a song.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. I think it's interesting because there are not too many, it's not a very dialogue heavy film. And like Akhil said, they use songs to kind of convey the mood of that particular moment, what that character is thinking, as opposed to the character really saying that. So it's an interesting narrative technique. I think Dangal had used music very well also in the slightly narrative way. What did you think?
Also, the album, it consists of Punjabi songs, and most people today, they think that Punjabi songs are mostly party anthem. But there is this one song called Darya, which is very beautifully sung, and it really touched my heart.
Yes, I think that is correct, and it's true that even though there are 12 songs and they're all set in the Punjabi music milieu, they're not your usual raps or party songs. They are actually part of the story, and to that extent, it's very interesting. And last but not the least, we have to talk about the producer Anand L. Rai, who brings his sensibility to this movie in a big way. Now, we've seen Anurag Kashyap and Anand Rai's films, both set in small towns and cities, whether it's Banaras, Kanpur, you name it. Of of course, Kashyap's narrative is usually darker and grittier, as we discussed earlier. Crime, politics, these are things that feature very prominently in his movies. Whereas Anand's movies are about relationships, characters, the quirky characters from these towns and cities. And Manmarziyaan is a combination of the two sensibilities and quite a well-balanced one. It's an endearing showcase of things that happen, people that, you know, sort of populate these small towns and cities. So all in all, Manmarziyaan brings an interesting perspective by combining these two points of views. Those are the 5 good things from us this week. Thank you for watching, and if you like this video, then like us, subscribe to us and follow us on social media. Thank you.